So in today's video, guys, I'll be doing a Game Pass tier list out of which Game Pass is the best in the game and which one is not. And in this video, guys, I'll be doing a little bit more of a practical approach compared to last time, and I will be ranking this tier list out of 3 categories. So here is pretty much every single Game Pass I'm going to be ranking on this list today, and I will actually be including every single way that you can spend money in order to actually make this Game Pass the most fair. And I'll be ranking this Game Pass out of 3 very important categories. One is affordability, second is going to be how much you truly need it, and 3 is going to be the overall power of the items. So anyway, let's just jump right into it. So starting with the first one, which we have ourselves right here, it is actually the Desert Eagle. The Desert Eagle can store up to 8 ammunition, and it is just so incredibly fast in terms of being able to shred your opponent at close range. Generally, you guys could do really well against opponents which are not wearing armor or just have very low level armor, but against the 2x armor, 3-shot body shot, and around 2-shot headshot, I believe that's going to be something around those lines. And generally, this Desert Eagle is actually pretty good. So in terms of affordability, it's definitely going to be an S tier. In terms of usefulness, I would probably be putting in an A. In overall power, I would probably be putting it in A as well. So overall, the Desert Eagle, I'm probably going to be having it as on the A tier, and the reason why is because it's just so incredibly affordable, and it's a really nice backup weapon to have. Anyway, the next thing on this list, which we have ourselves over here, it's going to be the JOTV. So this used to be called the Tactical JOTV, but now it's only known as the JOTV. This vehicle costs exactly 199 Robux. It is armed with 2 javelins. However, in terms of this meta, the javelins have really actually fallen off, and I'll be completely honest with you, and the overall tactical JOTV or the JOTV on its own is not really that useful anymore. Before, you guys were able to kind of know where your opponents were at, but at this point it's not really that useful anymore, so I'm probably not going to be ranking it really high on this list. It genuinely probably not worth its price. So in terms of affordability, it would probably go around A to B tier. In terms of power, I would probably be putting it in C tier, and in terms of how much you need it, probably a D. Genuinely, I'm gonna be ranking the JOTV as C tier because this vehicle used to actually be good when the Javelin wasn't nerfed, but after it got nerfed, it's just not useful, and there's almost no reason to use it except for circling your opponents, and if they know the strategies against you, then they'll easily be able to take you down. Anyway, the next Game Pass over here that we have ourselves is going to be the World War II set. So the World War II set, you could unlock at 4 rebirths of unlocking the World War II area, and this Game Pass actually has 3 items. One of them is a US Army pack, which actually looks really cool. It has a US Army vest, which gives you guys extra 100 health, and it has such an incredibly powerful weapon of the M1 Garand. Honestly, in terms of need, you guys definitely need this Game Pass because it allows you to be able to compete with higher-ended and more competitive players, and you guys could actually compete with the people who do have much more power than you in the game on the ground. So it's way easier. It just makes your life so incredibly easy in order to actually deal with your opponents. So genuinely, I'm probably going to be putting it very high. So in terms of affordability, it's obviously going to be an A tier. In terms of how much you need it, definitely an S tier. And in terms of overall how good it is, definitely an S tier once again. So this is probably going to be the first Game Pass which I'm going to be ranking it on S tier. And genuinely, the World War II pack is just so insanely good. It gives you guys a weapon, it lets you compete with the higher ended players, and I don't see any way to compete higher if you guys don't have this. Definitely need to buy this Game Pass. Anyway, making our way into the shield. Alrighty, so if I'm gonna be real with you guys, the shield is probably not that useful of a Game Pass. It really is the only upside of it is if you guys do get raided a lot, then it's gonna be quite useful. It does have a 2.5 times more shield than a normal shield, but really, do you guys really need it? I personally feel very toxic using this shield when I first bought it, and I don't like having it anymore, but what can you do once you do have all the Game Passes in the game? So genuinely, in terms of usefulness, maybe it's gonna be a B tier if you guys really want to rebirth and get very high without getting attacked. I guess the shield will work, but people just want to get through your shield no matter what. In terms of usefulness, not really that useful. In terms of affordability, it's probably A tier. Honestly, I'm probably gonna be putting the shield in around C to B tier. I may as well put it in B tier because it does have its niche uses, but generally I don't recommend using it. It does feel very toxic, but it's only 150 Robux, so I probably recommend you guys to buy this if you need to. So next up, we are actually jumping into another Game Pass, which I personally really hate. It is the Medals Game Pass. I really do not like the Medals Game Pass. The reason why I say this to you guys is because there are so many ways in the game that you guys could actually obtain medals. For 4,000 Robux, you buy 600 medals. So what are you telling me? That my inventory right now is almost worth 3,000 Robux because I could buy this offer? I genuinely gotta say that these offers are so unworth it. Just if you guys could get so much more by just spinning the daily spin every single day, and you guys could just really rank up way faster with this. There's also so many ways in which you guys could actually obtain medals, which is literally for ranking up in the factions. If we do go ahead into faction levels, here we go, you guys go into daily rewards, and look how much medals you guys could get on the higher ended levels. I really suggest you guys to just grind these challenges, and you could get the medals this way. It's just generally not worth it. The trading hub is also another way to obtain the medals. Probably one of the worst game passes in the game, you guys. Maybe if they offered more for the amount of money that we spent for it, then I would be happy to rank this higher, but genuinely I'm probably going to be ranking this in F tier. I don't like this, and genuinely it's probably not a good choice. Please do not buy this game pass. There's so many ways in which you guys can get medals. Alright, so now moving into the destroyer drone. So in terms of the destroyer drone, it does have a few key and niche uses, if I'll be completely honest with you. The destroyer drone could be a pain in the ass, if I'll be completely honest, to people who do not know how to counter drones. And genuinely, it does have some pretty good armament of having exactly 8 kind of grenades, which do have really good area damage, and it has just a strong machine gun. Genuinely, if you guys do fly high enough while abusing you do have a pretty big hitbox, so that's the problem. So if you guys don't want to be attacked by the drone EMP, you gotta fly very high around your opponents and try to kind of shoot them through the walls, whilst you can. Genuinely, the destroyer drone, for the price of 500 Robux though, it's definitely not going to be worth it, but if you guys want to be annoying, then I guess it's okay. So personally, I'm gonna be ranking the destroyer drone probably in C tier. It's just way too expensive for what it actually does. Like, are you telling me that 500 Robux is worth literally a few grenades and a machine gun and extra health? Totally not. Nobody even uses the grenades in the game, or even the drones in the game. Like, nobody cares about this. Please change this game pass, because genuinely it's just so not worth it. Alrighty, so now actually moving into the Camo Customizer. I used to believe that the Camo Customizer was one of the worst game passes to actually buy in the game, but as the time went on, I actually decided to change my opinion about this, and I'll explain you guys the reason why. This can actually make your skins look way cooler while you guys do have it, because 200 Robux for, just look at this. If it's actually animated skins, then you guys could pretty much change your skin into anything you want. Like, you see all these previous skins which we had over here, they kind of very much limit you guys, because if you do go ahead and look into, like, let's say the Sapphire, that actually looks very bland. The Circuit, it doesn't really look that good, but if you guys have the opportunity to pretty much change any color, you could make it look like any skin in the game, so you are pretty much redesigning skins at your own will. So I gotta say, it's actually pretty worth it, and I'm going to be ranking it pretty high on this list, because I actually started to grow respect for this game pass. So in terms of actual need, I'm gonna be honest, you guys do not need to buy it at all. In terms of what it offers, it's actually worth it in terms of affordability, so I'm actually going to be ranking the Camo Customizer probably at C tier, just because it doesn't really help you out in game, but if you really want to update your skins and make your skins look way cooler, then it is genuinely worth it with the animated skins. I personally recommend this. Alrighty, so now actually moving into the Speedy Hy, which is an interesting one. So the Speedy Hy is personally priced at 49 Robux, and it is the fastest vehicle in the game out of any ground vehicle, and it can go up to 130 miles per hour. I only have one little problem with the Speedy Hy, is the fact that it is so insanely hard to control, and it loses its speed so easily once you guys go on hills. Like, once you do get through hills, you could pretty much just stop any moment, and yeah, it just stopped there. It's just so annoying with how it drives. However, in terms of being able to actually get from base to base, it's so easy, and it's only 49 Robux, and it genuinely is useful once you're getting raided and you want to get out of your base, but you have to be a pretty good driver in order to actually be able to control this thing's speed. So in terms of usefulness, I would probably be giving it an A. In terms of affordability, it's gonna definitely be an S. In terms of how much you truly need it, you don't need it that much, but genuinely, I'm probably gonna be putting it in around the A tier, just for the reason that it's just so insanely cheap, and it's good at doing what it's supposed to do. Personally, really recommend this, and I respect this. Alrighty, so next up we have ourselves a game pass which costs exactly 10 Robux. This is kind of like a meme, but it is the GT Hoodie. I gotta say, I respect the developers for adding the GT Hoodie, and genuinely, if you guys really want to buy yourself some merch for War Tycoon, then I guess it's okay to buy it. At the end of the day, it's just 10 Robux. If you guys want to support the devs, go ahead and do it, but if you don't have the Robux, then I don't suggest to buy this. It's actually pretty hard to rank the GT Hoodie on this tier list, but personally, I'm gonna be ranking it, it's not an F because it's pretty cool looking, I'm gonna be ranking it in D tier. You guys don't have to buy it, but it is pretty affordable, and it really does just help out the devs. Anyway, next game pass which we have ourselves is the Boxer CRV, and this one is actually really interesting because it has been changed so much across the years. So the Boxer CR-V is currently standing as the best garage vehicle on paper according to the developers. However, I'm actually going to be disagreeing with this and probably say it's the third best vehicle in the garage because the LAVAD is better than this and the VCSC Mephisto is also better than this. But let's talk about the strengths of the Boxer. The Boxer has an explosive gun which is actually pretty decent at being able to counter infantry. It is just a very fast vehicle which makes it be able to really easily get away from missiles or just get away from planes very fast once they are trying to track you down. Along with this vehicle is also really good at being a tank counter because its second gun is actually just incredibly powerful because it has armor piercing bullets. And I gotta say that these armor piercing bullets can literally, a whole set of this can pretty much counter an Abrams X. And yes, that is absolutely correct. So if you guys do circle your opponent right, you know how to get around them and just play it right, the Boxer CR-V is actually pretty useful, and this gun is actually pretty good in terms of travel time and could serve well in anti-air. So I gotta say the Boxer is pretty good now. It has also been buffed in terms of health, so I'm actually gonna be ranking it pretty high. So genuinely, man, I'm gonna be probably ranking the Boxer as a high B tier or maybe up to an A tier. Genuinely, in terms of affordability, the Boxer is not that good, but in terms of what it offers for its price, I think it's actually genuinely worth it, and I suggest you guys to buy this Game Pass if you want to have yourself an extra vehicle that is able to counter a lot of vehicles in the game. Anyway, next Game Pass which we have ourselves is the Auto Collect. Genuinely, guys, I'm gonna be honest, please delete the Auto Collect. It's probably the worst Game Pass in the whole entire game, if I'm gonna be completely honest. It has absolutely no use except from stopping your lazy self from collecting money. Like, guys, it's not this difficult to collect money in this. The only reason which I got this Game Pass is because I got it gifted by one of my viewers which just wanted to be annoying to me. I really hate this Game Pass and I do not respect you for going to buy this. Do not buy it at all. Does just no point. Just take the money before you leave the game and that's all you have to do. Anyway, next up we have the Barett. So the Barett M82 has been changed a lot across the years. It has actually received 2 significant buffs because it was just a slightly better Remington before. So now this gun actually has pretty much one of the best accuracy in the game for a lot of weapons, and I genuinely recommend you guys to buy the Barett. And everything which I have to talk about is that it is an anti-material rifle, meaning it does good damage to vehicles, but not to add, it's just so incredibly good to spam it. If you guys do find yourself the right scope, it's pretty much the meta player's best friend. Like, I personally just love using the Barett because you guys could so easily headshot your opponents with this, and it's just actually so good. The accuracy just works out really well. I recommend you guys to actually buy this Game Pass. Definitely a hands out from me. So in terms of the tier list, I'm gonna be ranking it in S tier. I see most people using this after its significant buffs, and it's genuinely worth the price. Definitely recommend the Barett. It's just not that good for long range, but in close range, this thing will absolutely shred. Anyway, next I'm moving into the BMPT Terminator, which we could get from the spin. Alrighty, so as of now, the BMPT Terminator is ranked as the 3rd best tank in the game, but I don't know why the developers rank it really weirdly. The BMPT Terminator right now is the best vehicle in the whole entire game because it has every single versatility that you guys will ever need. It's pretty much just an F3 Bradley on steroids. It goes up to 55 miles per hour. It has an incredibly powerful explosive gun, which a whole round of this will be able to do 30% to a mouse, which by the way, mouse has one of the highest healths in the whole entire game, and 4 of these wire-guided missiles are pretty much able to shred an Abrams X in 4 of these. It just doesn't have any downside. It's so incredibly fast. It counters every single vehicle in the game. It just does not have blowout panels, but as long as you guys are skilled with this, it's definitely worth it. Now, here's the thing. In terms of actually ranking it in terms of affordability, in order to actually get this vehicle, you guys will have to gamble, but in order for how much you guys will need it and how good it truly is, I will definitely put it in S tier, but in terms of the fact that you guys have to spend so much Robux for this to even get a chance to actually get it, it really does fall down at least 2 tiers. So I'm probably going to be ranking the Terminator as the B tier, but genuinely, it's really good to get and it's definitely a worth it choice. Anyway, moving into the 2x cash. So genuinely, I respect most people who actually get themselves 2x cash. The reason why I respect them so much is because I respect the grind of people actually wanting to get themselves a lot of money inside the game by just grinding rebirths. Like, if you guys really want the 69 rebirth or just get higher in the game, then it's definitely a worth it Game Pass to buy. It's good for beginners and it costs 400 Robux. So genuinely, the 2x cash Game Pass is so good for early game, but it's also good, decent for late game. I'm probably going to be ranking the 2x cash behind the Speedy Hy and the Desert Eagle. It's genuinely a really worth it Game Pass. If you guys want to get yourself more cash, I definitely recommend it. Anyway, now moving to the F-35 Lightning, and this is where stuff gets really controversial. So the F-35 Lightning is currently ranked by most people as the second best vehicle in the game, but before the Terminator was added, it pretty much used to be the best. I'm gonna be fully honest with you guys, this freaking thing is one of the most OP toys that you could ever get yourself in a video game. Second fastest speed in the game, one of the highest amounts of damage per second that you guys could do. 4 missiles from this will literally be able to shred any vehicle in the game. Not to add, it has Veto, which you guys could pretty much very easily use to just bomb people on their head. And genuinely, this is probably such a good Game Pass. I really recommend you guys to buy it. However, it does have one major problem. It costs 2,500 Robux. So in terms of affordability, it's always going to be very low on the list. But in terms of how much you guys need it, I'm definitely going to be putting this thing at the top of A tier. It's generally such a well-recommended Game Pass, and everybody just uses this thing. It's just so expensive. That's the main problem about it. But if you guys do want to get ahead of everybody in the meta, I definitely recommend you guys to get the F-35. Now moving into the Foul Heavy. Alrighty, so the Foul Heavy is pretty much a Sweat's best friend in this game. This has pretty much the second or the third highest DPS in the whole entire game, but not to add, the main thing that we have to talk about this item is the fact that this assault rifle is pretty much ranked as the best assault rifle because one shot from this literally does 40 damage. The only really big problem about it is that it doesn't have as many attachments and its recoil is quite high. However, you guys want to be able to shred any opponent at a very fast amount of time, and then I definitely recommend you guys to use the Foul Heavy. It's so insanely good at close range, it's decent at mid range. Genuinely, I'm going to be ranking it in S tier just because of how good it is. Like, its affordability is really good because it only costs 200 Robux. It's just really good weapon to use, and it's pretty much the best assault rifle in the game. Definitely recommend you guys to buy the Foul Heavy. It's such a cheap Game Pass, and it's definitely worth its price. Anyway, now moving into the Mi-28 Havoc. So the Mi-28 Havoc has only recently been added to the game. If I'll be completely honest with you guys, the Mi-28 is actually so insanely good for two very interesting facts. It has the highest lock-on range out of any vehicle in the whole entire game, meaning that you guys could fight with missiles at any range. However, it does have one downside of having pretty slow reload speed, but you guys could really just go up very high on top and just swoop down any vehicle in the game, just swoop down the tanks with 4 of these missiles. And with 8 of these missiles, you guys will pretty much be able to almost destroy an Abrams X, and just a few of this explosive machine gun shots will be able to pretty much get the job done. It's just such a good vehicle, and it's such a nice little upgrade for the Mi-24 Hind, which was just not worth it. However, this vehicle does have a price of 1,000 Robux. So I'm gonna be completely honest with you guys, 1,000 Robux is quite pricey, but for what the Mi-28 Havoc actually offers with its versatility, I'm actually gonna say it's a worth it Game Pass in terms of a vehicle, and it's definitely worth its price. In terms of the tier list, I'm actually going to be ranking the Mi-28 Havoc slightly behind the F-45 Lightning. It ranks itself really well in the meta. However, there are some overpowered vehicles which could still beat this, but genuinely, I very much recommend this vehicle. You guys would just have to play it very smart with it, but in terms of its price tag of 1,000 Robux, it's definitely worth it. Anyway, moving to the cash Game Pass. Oh man, this is gonna be tough. Alrighty, once again, I have exactly the same opinion on the cash Game Pass as the medals Game Pass. I absolutely hate this thing. It's just not worth it for money. There's absolutely no point of buying it, because just look at these price tags. Like, you guys, if you do have yourself the higher multipliers of 2x cash, you guys could pretty much get yourself the amount of cash that this offers here on the list much faster. Like, you guys could pretty much AFK for a whole entire hour while having the 2x cash Game Pass. You guys will be able to pretty much make up as much money as this will be able to do for you for 3,500 Robux. Never affordable. I really believe that this Game Pass should be buffed by a significant margin, because it's really just not worth it at all. So personally, I believe that this needs a definite rework, but I'm going to be ranking it as please delete. Once again, please just change this. It's just such a bad Game Pass, devs. Just make a change to it, please. Anyway, moving into the explosive sniper, which once again is quite interesting. So most of you guys might call me crazy, but I'm actually going to say that the explosive sniper is actually not that good as a weapon, and I'm going to explain you why. Most of the time, a good player who plays with a normal sniper will be able to defeat you guys in a 1v1, even though the explosive sniper does significantly good damage if the people just simply turn off their settings of turning off high quality smoke and etc, or something like that. They will pretty much be able to counter the main strength of this weapon, which is the fact that it creates a big smoke which doesn't let you see. However, its explosive damage is really good in terms of being able to to actually shoot the ground instead of shooting your opponent. Once again, not really that much of a skilled weapon, and the only time I really recommend you guys to use the explosive sniper is if you guys do not have the best aim in the world. That's probably the only time I'm going to recommend it. I'm actually not going to recommend this for 2,000 Robux. It's just way too expensive. It has been nerfed way too many times, and I genuinely just do not recommend you guys to buy the explosive sniper. It's okay for vehicles, and that's the only time I probably would respect people using it. It's probably not the right choice, because you guys could pretty much just buy yourself like something like a FAL, which is way easier to use, or something, or just even use like a free-to-play sniper, and you guys will be able to defeat the explosive sniper users in a 1v1. Just have to be smart with it. This thing only really counters the riot shield, which is the only upside of it, really. Not really recommended, and in terms of its price tag, not worth it once again. So genuinely, I'm probably going to be ranking the explosive sniper as B tier. It does have some uses, but it's just, most people don't like it, and it's just not worth it for its price. Anyway, moving into the Abrams X Game Pass. So the Abrams X across the years has its buffs and nerfs. Recently, it has received a buff of having 1,900 health, which is the second highest health out of any tank in the whole entire game. This tank can go up to a very high speed, it has a javelin, and it has an incredibly powerful cannon. However, the main strength about this is its explosive gun, which is really good for infantry, really good for shredding down tanks, really good for shredding down planes, and it has the best pretty much turn rate out of any tank in the whole entire game in terms of its cannon turn. I really like the Abrams X, however its javelin was recently nerfed, which was its main strength of being able to see behind walls, so that's its main use that has unfortunately been changed, and genuinely for a price tag of 1,500 Robux, the Abrams X is probably not going to be worth it anymore. The javelin is just really easily counterable after using it in close range, which is the only use that the javelin now has for the Abrams X. So genuinely, for a price tag of 1,500 Robux, before with its previous power, I would genuinely be ranking the Abrams X either A tier or S tier, but right now, the Abrams X is generally not that worth it for its price. Like, it's just a slight upgrade for a T14 Armada in terms of damage output. I really do not recommend you guys to buy the Abrams X as much until it does receive some kind of significant buff. Really, not worth its price. Anyway, now moving to the Lavad. Alrighty, so the Lavad is actually really interesting. It is probably the second or the first best garage vehicle in the whole entire game. It's a freaking anti-air cannon, will pretty much be able to shred any plane in the whole entire game in around 2 to 3 seconds. Like, this thing is just so incredibly powerful. It also has lock-on missiles. It's good for killing infantry because of the fact that it has 8 rockets, which, by the way, these rockets has the second highest area damage in the whole entire game, except for the bombs. I gotta say, the Lavad is actually really worth it. You guys would really have to be worried for your health, but in terms of affordability, that's where the problems start to come in. So genuinely, as a vehicle, I would be ranking it somewhere in A tier, but in terms of affordability, it's probably going to be going down in the B tier. I really do not recommend you guys to actually spend your Robux in order to get the Lavad. It's just really not that useful as for the price that it costs, and you guys will really have to gamble away your savings to get this. Alrighty, so now moving into the Speedy Oil Extractor. On the other side, I actually really respect this Game Pass for one very interesting reason. It's good for beginners, but it's also good for the higher-ended players for one very interesting reason, is when you guys do go ahead and rebirth and you're grinding to like rebirth 100, this thing is really good because you guys do not have to use the pretty much this oil extractor and pull the prompt. It really just saves you guys time because the money automatically starts to generate, and then you guys can really fastly take advantage of your bonus 2x cash once you do rebirth for 10 minutes. So genuinely, the Speedy Oil Extractor for 39 Robux is actually really worth it, and allows you guys to buy yourself these faster oil extractors way quicker than the prompt would allow you to. So genuinely, for early game and later game players, this is a very much recommended Game Pass, but I'm not gonna be ranking it this high because you guys don't really need this oil extractor. It's just a pretty nice bonus off the start. Anyway, next up, moving into the server nuke. Oh man, this is controversial. So in terms of how cool the server nuke actually is, I will be ranking it incredibly high on this list. But basically what it does is that it nukes the midpoint and it just kills every single person on the map no matter what. Like, but the problem comes with it is it's incredibly high price. Look at this! 700 Robux for nuking a whole entire server. That is freaking expensive. I feel like it should be changed to like 100 million cash or maybe more to actually make it a lot more worth it, because right now that's not really a point of it. You guys don't need it. So I genuinely do not recommend you guys to buy this. I'm probably going to be placing the server nuke and around the D tier for the reason that it's not affordable, it's not that useful for you, it pretty much gives you no advantages of being a literal troll. Anyway, moving into the op. So the AWP is pretty much ranked as the best sniper in the game for two very important reasons. One of them being that the fact that it's really good for long range, but another thing is that it's really good for close range, has one of the best accuracy for a sniper in the game. Like, it's just so good for the higher ended meta players, and genuinely the AWP is really good sniper, and I have nothing else to say about it. But the problem comes, once again, you guys would have to spend so much money to even get a chance of getting this. So in terms of usefulness, how good it is as a sniper, I would rank it in S tier. But once again, since it does cost so much in order to actually get it, once again, I'm going to be having to put it in B tier to give it a nice little median. Anyway, moving into the self-revive, I'm gonna be honest, I'm not even gonna get into the game to show you guys. You guys know I'm ranking this in then please delete. I'm not even gonna be putting it in F tier. It's just so insanely bad. Why would you even pick yourself up? It's just not respecting the person you're fighting once you do use the self-revive. I would genuinely respect you using the self-revive if you kill yourself in a stupid way. Then I recommend you guys to use this if you really want to spend your Robux and spend your daily friend invites. But other than this, it's just not good to do, and people just will hate you for it. Anyway, moving to the 2x armor pack. Okay, this is interesting. So the 2x armor has one very important upside, actually two very important upsides. The fact that it looks very cool and people buy it just for the fact that it looks good. You guys don't really need the M1 Garand as a bonus weapon, but you could always get it. But look at this, you look absolutely sick with this Game Pass, and it costs exactly the same price as the And it costs exactly the same price as well World War II set, and it's also accessible for literally Rebirth 0. So in terms of accessibility, I would be ranking it quite high, but the fact that it's only armor, which pretty much does the same as the World War II pack, I'm going to be ranking it slightly below it. So I personally believe that the price of this should drop to 150 to make it much more justifiable that we buy ourselves the M1 Garand for the extra 50 Robux downstairs, but I'm probably going to be ranking this high either way. It does look very cool, it allows you guys to be able to compete with the higher ended players, so I'm going to be ranking this in A tier. Big respect. Anyway, the MI24 Hind, this used to be a Game Pass, but if I had to rank it somewhere on this list as a Game Pass, it was 1000 Robux. It was pretty much only good for rating basis, so I would probably be ranking the MI24 Hind as a C tier back when it was a Game Pass, but now it's not a Game Pass, so I can't really put it on this list, but I may as well put it there, so I will. Alright, anyway, the last Game Pass which we have ourselves in the game, which is going to be the Elite cases. So genuinely, these are pretty expensive, and they do actually give a pretty good price for what they give, because they give you guys a very high chance in order to actually get yourself the legendary skins. And these legendary skins, I believe that they should be slightly improved, though they are actually really cool. I personally really like the liquid gold and the moonstone and the prism. The white gold doesn't really seem this well, but if you guys are willing to spend your Robux in order to get this, you may as well. For the sake of today's video, let's go ahead and spin one. But yeah, I pretty much respect this, but you guys will never need it. Oh, and I didn't get a legendary, I just got a rare. I guess I got unlucky. Anyway, once again, the Halloween cases, they are slightly more expensive. However, they are more recommended than the stuff like the Elite cases, because they actually give you guys a 100% chance to get yourself a legendary. But yeah, the Elite cases are pretty much something cool in the game. You guys don't need it, but you can have it. I'm going to be ranking it in D tier just because of the fact it's quite expensive and you don't need it. Anyway, this is the whole entire tier list. Let me know in the comment section down below how you guys would be ranking this tier list. Personally, I believe that this was a very fair take, and yeah, I'll see you guys next video. Let me know in the comment section down below which other tier list you guys would like me to do. Should I do snipers next? Should I do assault rifles next? Let me know.